At my company's launch party, my manager introduced me as the team's mascot. She's always around, even if she's not exactly useful. Everyone chuckled politely while I smiled numbly. What they didn't know was I had already been interviewing with their top competitor, and when I announced it, I took half the department with me. You ever have one of those moments where someone humiliates you in front of a crowd, and you can't do anything except smile? That was me at my company's launch party, standing by the hors d'oeuvres table, holding a glass of warm champagne and dying a little inside. I'd worked at Synercore Tech Solutions in Raleigh, North Carolina, for 3 years. We weren't a huge company, but we were on the rise. Our launch party was a big deal, new product, new clients, a chance to finally show off all the work we'd been doing. The room was full of executives, investors, and partners. Everyone had been drinking, laughing, and rubbing elbows all night. It was my first time at an event like this where I actually felt like I belonged. That is, until Dave got on the mic. Dave was my manager. He came in about a year after I started. Tall guy, shaved head, always wore golf shirts and acted like he was doing you a favor just by noticing you. He didn't like questions, didn't like being challenged, and definitely didn't like being shown up. Especially not by someone like me. He was up there giving a speech, thanking departments, giving shout-outs. People were clapping, smiling. Then he said it. Can't forget our team mascot. She's always around, even if she's not exactly useful. There was a pause. A beat. Then a polite laugh from the room. I felt like I got punched in the chest. Some people looked over at me, unsure if it was a joke or not. I smiled. Numbly. I nodded like I wasn't on it. Like it was funny. But in my head, I was already gone. And Dave? He had no idea what was coming. I didn't get to that party by being the mascot. When I first got to Synercore, I was just another face in the marketing department. I wasn't the loudest. I wasn't flashy. But I worked. I stayed late. I learned tools no one else touched. I filled gaps. Took on the junk no one wanted. People came to me when they needed something fixed fast. Even managers from other departments would quietly ask if I could take a quick look at their projects. But Dave never said thank you. Never gave me credit. He'd send me vague tasks like clean this up or make it work. I'd deliver, and he'd either ignore it or pass it off as his own. I tried to speak up once during a team meeting about something I had improved in the analytics dashboard. He cut me off mid-sentence and said, "Let's not get into the weeds." Then moved on to talk about a new ad campaign, one that I had fully created but he claimed was a team collaboration. That was the pattern. Anything good? His. Anything bad? Ours. Still, I kept my head down. I kept doing the work. Then the product launch came. We were rolling out a new enterprise tool that had been in development for nearly a year. The company was counting on it to break into a new market. The marketing team got pulled in early. I helped build the campaign from the ground up, targeting strategy, social media rollouts, email flows, even the presentation decks. For a while, I let myself believe it would matter. That I'd finally be seen. Then came the party. The joke. The moment that snapped something in me. What no one at that party knew was that I had already been interviewing with Luminar Tech, Synercore's top competitor just across town. I didn't just apply out of frustration. I applied because I wanted out, but I didn't want to just leave. I wanted to win. So when Luminar Tech reached out for a second interview and told me they were building a new division, I listened carefully. They were hiring for a senior marketing lead, someone who had both technical know-how and team leadership experience. It was everything Dave had told me I wasn't quite ready for. A week after the party, I got the offer. I didn't say yes. Not yet. I had an idea. I started talking to people on my team. Not all at once. Not in any way that would get flagged. Just casual coffee chats. Quick messages. Quiet conversations. Hey, have you ever thought about leaving? I'm not saying I am. But if you were going to, where would you go? And then, once I trusted them, I told them what I was doing. I got an offer from Luminar Tech. They're building a new pod. They're hiring. Some were scared. Most were angry. One person actually said, "I thought I was the only one feeling like this. Turns out I wasn't. Dave had pissed off more people than I realized. People he passed over for promotions. People he mocked in meetings. People he ignored completely. And those people? They were good. They were damn good. I didn't make promises. I just connected dots. By the end of the second week, 6 of us had either received offers or were in the final stages. Luminar Tech didn't just take my word. They interviewed each person. And they were impressed. Then I set the plan. I waited until a Tuesday, the start of a new quarter, when Dave would be distracted with reporting. I scheduled a one-on-one on his calendar, walked into his office, and handed him my letter. He looked up at me, blinked. "You're quitting?" "I am." He rolled his eyes. "You people get bored so easily." I smiled. "You might want to check your inbox in about 10 minutes. And I left. 10 minutes later, another resignation. Then another. By the end of the day, 5 of us were gone. 2 more the following morning. The department lost over half its people in under 48 hours. And not just the bodies, but the knowledge, the brains, the ones who actually got things done. Luminar Tech welcomed us with open arms. They let us build. They let us lead. And Cinecore? They had to delay their next product rollout. Publicly. Blamed staffing issues. Dave stopped showing up to company events after that. Funny how quiet it got. I'm not done yet. I'm not going to lie. There was a moment, a real moment, that first Monday at Luminar Tech when I walked into our new office space, saw my name already printed on the glass wall, and thought, I did it. I actually pulled it off. We had fresh laptops. Real budgets. A team of people who wanted to be there. It was a total reset. And for a few weeks, everything moved fast. We launched a rebrand for one of Luminar Tech's aging platforms. Brought in a wave of new clients with a sharp, clean ad campaign. I even sat in on strategy calls with the executive team. They asked me for advice. Listened to what I had to say. It felt real. But good things don't stay smooth forever. Not when people are watching. And especially not when the person watching is your old boss. It started with LinkedIn. Out of nowhere, Dave started posting vague little digs. Stuff like, amazing how some folks leave and suddenly think they were the backbone of everything. Or, a real leader doesn't need to take people with them to feel powerful. He didn't name names. He didn't have to. The comments under those posts? Full of old Cinecore employees, quietly liking, occasionally chiming in with truth, or preach. It was pathetic. But it also told me something. I'd hit a nerve. Then came the emails. Not from Dave. From a recruiter I knew, someone I'd worked with briefly before. She called me out of the blue, voice tight. "Hey, I need to ask. Did you actually poach your whole department?" "I didn't poach anyone," I said. "I told them I was leaving. They made their own choices." She sighed. "Well, someone's spreading a different story." Turns out Dave wasn't just embarrassed. He was angry. Angry enough to start making noise behind the scenes. He started talking to mutual contacts in our industry, whispering things. That I was disloyal. That I broke a non-solicitation clause. I didn't. I checked with legal before I made a move. That I was trying to take down Cinecore. It was petty, but dangerous. Small circles talk. And tech in Raleigh? Smaller than you think. One afternoon, my new manager at Luminar Tech pulled me into a meeting. He closed the door. "You're not in trouble," he said. "But we got a call from someone at Cinecore. They're trying to dig into how we hired your team. They're hinting at legal stuff." I kept calm. I had done everything by the book. No contracts broken. No promises made. Still, it rattled me. And that wasn't the end of it. A few weeks later, one of my team members, Alan, a designer, didn't show up for our Monday stand-up. No call. No text. By noon, I finally got a message. "Hey, I'm sorry." I had to go back. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. It wasn't personal. I stared at the screen for a long time. Alan had been one of the most vocal about wanting to leave Cinecore. He'd ranted about Dave more than anyone. Said it felt like high school, being ignored all the time. But money talks. And Dave had doubled his salary. He wasn't the last one either. Within a month, 2 others went back. Quietly. No whoopee. No messages. It hurt more than I expected. I had pulled this team together from the mess, brought them into something new, gave them a fresh start. And now, they were going back to the man who had mocked them in public, who took credit for their work, who called me a damn mascot. I told myself it was just business. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. After Alan and the others went back to Cinecore, things shifted. In our weekly meetings, I noticed my team getting quiet, slower to respond, less excited. Like the air had gone out of the room. We were still doing good work, but something had cracked. Worse, Luminar Tech's leadership started asking questions I didn't like. Is the team loyal? Can we be sure something like this won't happen again? Should we slow down the next hire, just in case? That stung. I hadn't lied to anyone. I hadn't twisted arms. I built something real, but now that people were jumping ship, it made me look shaky. Like I was the problem. I thought about letting it go. Letting Dave win that round. But I couldn't. Because what he did next, that made it personal. One morning, I got a message from a friend who still worked in IT over at Cinecore. She kept her head down, but we used to talk during late shifts.
She wasn't the gossip type.
Her message said, "Hey, you might want to know. They're using your old internal projects as examples in interviews, telling new hires that your campaigns were a group effort that you had almost nothing to do with." I sat there, reading it twice. Then 3 times. That was it. That was the line. I didn't care if Dave wanted to throw shade online. But rewriting history? Taking credit again? Pretending I was nothing more than the mascot, while using my work to sell Cinecore to fresh hires?
No.
I wasn't letting that slide. I didn't fight dirty. I fought correctly. First, I gathered everything, emails, project files, saved Slack messages, timestamp drafts. Every single campaign I had worked on from start to finish.
Proof.
Then I built a portfolio.
Public. Clean.
Professional. I posted it on my LinkedIn with a caption, "When someone calls you a mascot, just remind them what the mascot built." Within 2 days, the post hit 30,000 views. Comments rolled in. Old coworkers backed me up. Even a few clients chimed in, saying how they remembered me leading those presentations, not Dave. And just like that, the story started turning. That wasn't all I did. I went back through my list of old coworkers, the ones who didn't leave but had told me, quietly, they wanted to. I reached out again. Not with job offers. With support. Let me know if you ever need a reference. Or someone to vouch for you. A few took me up on it. I connected them to recruiters I trusted. I heard whispers that Dave started tightening control after that. More meetings, more approvals, more panic.
Good.
But the real twist came a few weeks later. I was out to lunch with one of our Luminar Tech execs, just a casual meal to check in. We were halfway through our sandwiches when he said, "Oh, ever think about running your own division?" I blinked. I mean fully running it. Budget, hires, strategy. Not just marketing. Why me? He smiled. Because you already are. We've watched how you handled this whole thing. Honestly, we've never seen someone walk out of a company and take the fire with them. I didn't say yes right away. But I knew, in that moment, I wasn't anyone's mascot. I was about to be someone's boss. I accepted the offer. Not because I needed a title, or because I wanted revenge. I accepted because it meant I had full control now. My own budget. My own hires. My own name on the work. No one above me ready to take the credit. No one below me stuck under someone else's thumb. The first thing I did, I restructured everything. I didn't just keep the team I had left. I rebuilt it with care. Pulled in talent that had been ignored or overlooked by places like Cinecore. I gave chances to people who just needed someone to believe in them. And the results spoke for themselves. Within 5 months, our division was outperforming all others. By the end of the fiscal year, we were leading the company in new revenue. That's when the press started calling. Industry blogs. Tech writers. They wanted to profile our team, ask about our growth. I gave short, polite interviews. Never once mentioned Dave or Cinecore. But everyone knew.
And that?
That burned more than if I had said his name out loud. One morning, I got a LinkedIn request. From Dave. I stared at it for a while. Then I accepted. I didn't message him. Didn't say a word. That same week, someone forwarded me a job posting. Cinecore is looking for a new head of marketing. Immediate need.
Urgent ailleurs.
I almost laughed. Turns out, Dave didn't last. I heard through the grapevine that leadership got tired of the revolving door in his department. Tired of the bad press. Tired of the results that never came. When the fourth high-level marketing hire quit under him, they finally pulled the plug. He was let go quietly. No farewell party. No LinkedIn announcement.
Just gone.
But this story isn't just about him. It's about what I learned, too. Because I made mistakes. I let that launch party eat me alive. I let one man's opinion shape my worth for too long. I stayed quiet for too long, thinking that good work would speak for itself. It doesn't. You have to speak for it. You have to fight for it. And yeah, sometimes you have to burn a few bridges to make room for your own. But I'll tell you this, that Mascot Dave mocked? She's now running a division that just acquired two smaller firms, one of them? A struggling little side company spun off from Cinecore after Dave's exit. I didn't even blink when we bought it. I just signed the papers. And moved forward.